Hi, my name is David Newman. I'm the Principal Director of Fiscal Agents. We've been in business now 40 years, collecting and publishing interest rates that you might have seen in the Toronto Star, Globe and Mail, and even further back into the Financial Times. We used to do a great deal of things in the newspapers before the newspapers found all of the issues that they have. That's why we're turning to the website to provide some of that data. This publication will give you the confidence of understanding where all of the documents are going to be placed, who's going to look after them, and who's going to look after the will and the estate after you pass away, or whether it's going to be for your parents, etc. What's included in the 12 chapters is that you'll find that the first off, you'll be able to record all of your personal data, your date of birth, your SIN number, also any passwords that you have for the particular computers or online banking, so that will help the executor or the lawyer being able to gather the funds to be able to be distributed along with your wishes. The document locations, if you have a will, might be in a safety deposit box, so that's where you'd be indicating it would be. Your marriage or birth certificate, they're useful for claiming pensions, etc. Also, you need to consider whether that life insurance policy has sufficient funding in it to cover off any of the tax obligations that you might have, or some real estate holdings, places for that as well. Employment contracts, there's a company benefit program involved. You can photograph that and leave that image within the downloadable document, because it's electronic, so it's downloaded, it's going to sit on your computer. Nobody else has access to other than you and whoever you appoint to do that, or you can print it out, and that way it's easier to carry around if you're going to go to the lawyer. Included in the directory is spots for all of your financial details, who you bank with, what the account numbers are, if you have investment certificates, who they're issued by, maturity dates, for RIFs and RSPs. The publication also carries annuities that you're receiving, and it can be included in this document. If you have personal loans, also they need to be recorded because they have to be satisfied throughout the will. And any other loan details that you might have, or you've loaned money to family members or friends that you wish accounted in the process, there's space for that too. Certainly a list of your professional advisors and their contact information is going to be invaluable to you or your spouse, whoever is looking after the will or the estate, even if there's other issues like mental health issues and you're operating under a power of attorney with some family members. This document's going to prove out all of the things that you think that are owing to you, or perhaps you're owing to somebody else. And normally the best way to structure those is not to choose the same individual, because they might have conflicts in their particular duties and how they wish to express those duties. It lists all of the next of kin. It also has a spot for the executor, and included in the publication is a guide on how to choose an executor, because that's part of the issues that you're facing, is who you're going to trust within your circle of friends, or your wife, is whether she's capable of handling that. You might have children certainly capable of providing those services to your wishes. But the big thing with choosing an executor is whether or not they have the capacity to follow through. It's no good if you're in your 80s. It's no good having your older brother who's 98 be the executor, because his capacity might not be there to follow through. And you might look to engage the services of one of your nephews or nieces or younger siblings. As I mentioned, there's a number of articles within the publication that provide guidance and tips on how to keep records and what you need to keep and what you should be throwing out, so it doesn't really get in the way of what you're trying to do. It just helps you organize things in much the same way we have an introductory into the book, which gives you an idea of how and when you should start filling out it and gives you tips on those particular things. This publication was brought about by the issues that our clients have faced over the years, being primary GIC holders. If you're a client of ours, you would have seen the deposit tracker income statement and all of the benefits of laddering, and that's split into different categories, being whether it's an RSP, a RIF, or a tax-free savings account, or just general money where you've had funds registered with both yourself and your spouse. And certainly doing that saves the will having to deal with the disposition of those funds, because the funds automatically get transferred over to the designated beneficiary. Sometimes if there is a redemption request, there might be some penalties to be paid because you're going to break the contract, of course. One of the most difficult tasks in estate planning is being an executor. The amount of angst and how executors have struggled trying to pull together documents that are pertaining to now the beneficiary, and it's their job to get that. But the big thing with choosing an executor is whether or not they have the capacity to follow through. The final sections cover why you need an estate plan. It's a 10-step process of collecting, recording, understanding all of the particular nuances within the structure of a will and operating an estate. It's really a go-to place. Checklists you can fill out, boxes you can tick, answers will provide clues and locations of where documents are held. But the most serious part of all of this documentation is getting advice. This booklet is not a will. You can't use it for that. It's just a helpful guide to assist those that are left behind or managing your funds if you're incapable. Again, this publication does not cover all circumstances and should only be considered as a starting point to understand the ins and outs of what's going to be required of you and also the person that provides the administration. As I mentioned in the beginning, this document, once complete, and as you've gone through it, you'll understand the complexities that are there before you. Also, to summarize here, is that those professionals that you've engaged in need to be recorded in this book. If you don't have a lawyer, one wonders how this will and an estate is going to be fulfilled. Certainly if you have dependents, if there's beneficiary and children not incorporated in a will that you just write out, they might wish to come along and challenge that, and I'm sure that's not one of the things that you want to do. So if you remember that we're here fiscal agents, we can help repatriate some of the investment certificates, and certainly we can provide help along the way in structuring your account. You can also have the certificate re-registered to accommodate a joint and last survivor. Notation on the certificate, as again, those particular things will flow directly to the beneficiaries. Thank you again for downloading the publication. If you have any questions regarding what we do, are answered on the Fiscal Agent's website. You'll see the different categories, who and why we do what we do. All of the interest rates are shown there, and they're the ones that we provide higher interest rates than normally found in some of the other institutions because we're a deposit broker. Anyway, thank you again for your time looking at this video and consideration in downloading the directory of documents. As we've often said, most of the things that we do are a cornerstone of financial planning, which is not necessary for the rich, but certainly for the wise. And thank you again.